This channel supports Extra Life in its efforts to raise money for the Children's Miracle Network. For more information about how to donate and join in their efforts, go to the link displayed here. Extra Life. Play games, heal kids. What up, everybody? This is your boy Black Vegas, and as promised, I'm going to talk about the big reveal for Assassin's Creed that Ubisoft did today. Now, you were one of those unfortunate souls that weren't able to catch it live. Don't worry. They actually didn't just do it on their channel, as the email said. Not on their channel, but on their website, like the email said. It was actually a YouTube live stream. So if you go to the Assassin's Creed channel, it's just Assassin's Creed. Can't miss it. It has almost 1 million subs, and it's an official channel. You'll be able to sit and watch the reveal, which from when I watched the playback, it was roughly around 30 minutes or so. So they did, it's funny because I'm going to blame EA for this shit now. I don't know if I've watched enough reveals to notice other people do this, but they did the whole presentation where they talked to the studio members and did this whole build up, like, you know, we've been so passionate about this and blah, 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 and why we love games and all that. Reminded me of the stuff that EA did during E3, I should say, with like the Burnout game, with Battlefront beforehand, with Mirror's Edge and stuff like that. It's like, okay, you guys are doing a lot of talking and things like that, and every now and then they'll slip in like an image or something. Although they didn't really put any images for this one, but it was just like, okay, this is just a documentary about the studio and the people who are working on it, it seemed. But of course, about 10 minutes in, after the whole song and dance, they showed the trailer, which we are getting Assassin's Creed Syndicate. It's not Victory like the rumors were, but the rumors were almost spot on, as it is set in London, as I alluded to before from the email that was sent to me. So here's the particulars about the game, and they showed some gameplay. It was pre-alpha gameplay, and of course there was a couple of in-engine rendered sequences. But from what I saw, of course, it looks good. Assassin's Creed games traditionally look good, so that's not the worry. The worry, of course, from that standpoint, would be whether or not it's going to be glitched to hell like Unity was. Which, by the way, I was playing Unity the other day because I haven't played it in God knows how long. I need to finish that game, and there were still like tons of pop-in and stuff like that. It's like, wow, you guys really, really shit the bed with this one. But anyway, so the particulars of Assassin's Creed Syndicate. So you are playing as Jacob Fry. You were born an assassin, raised by assassins. You and your sister, Evie, who's going to be in there. Now, Evie, being a female assassin, probably got everybody hyped. Thing is, I don't know if we'll be interacting or playing as Evie in a full Assassin's Creed game, so slow your roll. So far, Avalon is the only assassin in a full Assassin's Creed game that's female, outside of course, the Chronicles China. But I kind of consider that like an offshoot instead of proper, because Liberation was built more like the regular series was, even though that was kind of an offshoot too. But as far as 3D is concerned, Avalon's still it. Hopefully we will get to explore Evie. That would be cool if they had a mechanic where you could switch off assassins. I don't know, that might shake up things a bit. Anyway, so your brothers and sisters who are working with the assassins, I believe you're ahead of your particular guild, because one of the things about this is that gangs play a big part of it. It's set in the industrial era of England, and it's funny because when they were talking about the gangs and stuff like that and showing some of the gameplay of the gangs, it just immediately snapped to my mind. Gangs in New York, in London, was what I thought of, because your gangs are going to play a pivotal role. And the other thing that popped in my mind, of course, too, was this is kind of like a step back to Brotherhood, where you were the leader of Assassin's Guild and you had to go out and recruit. You will be able to recruit gang members. You will be able to save your own gang members. You'll be able to take over certain areas of the city and take over certain gang factions and incorporate them into yours. So, kind of has that Brotherhood feel in that aspect right there. You have a special set of weapons, brass knuckles. You have something called a kukrai. It's like a short blade, not a full sword, which is kind of a difference. You have a rope launcher to go along with your standard blades on your gauntlets. So you're able to fire this rope launcher and quickly ascend buildings without having to climb them, parkour up them like you did before. So that's a neat touch. Quicker travel system right there. You'll be able to use things like carriages and whatnot to travel. So you'll be able to get in, drive a horse and carriage. So they're bringing that back where you could actually ride somewhere as you could in Assassin's Creed 1, 2, but a little faster because of the carriages. They mentioned something about getting on and off trains because this is the industrial area. So you could get on and fight on trains. I'm not sure whether or not you'll have any control over the trains, or you can use trains as a means of transportation as well. They didn't exactly say you could, but they were saying that you can use vehicles to get around the city, so you might be able to do that. Now, one of the things I found neat was environmental kills. Now they'll let you, some of those things that you see hanging, like the barrels and whatnot, you can actually knock them down and kill people with to get stealth assassinations, things like that, which I thought was pretty cool. The gang warfare thing, there is actually an element where you do have a big brawl like in Gangs of New York. Basically, what they were showing was there's parts where you can save your gang members from rivals. You can have your gang members join you to go jump into fights, just like small fights. You can go over, like I said, and take over gang affiliation locations like you did the areas in Assassin's Creed Brotherhood and whatnot, so you can control the city. And then when you're going after the Templar gangs, which they said there's 7 Templar gangs, to take over them you have to engage in a big gang fight, it looks like. That should be interesting to see how that's gonna go. Like I said, it has a like Gangs of New York element. The combat looked good because you were more of a brawling style. It wasn't the quote-unquote elegant assassin style that you're used to with pulling out the swords and things like that. He's still smooth, fluid with his movements, but he's kind of more a brutal fighter because of the brass knuckles and the short blade. You know, he's more of a get in and mix it up type of fighter. You saw him do headbutts, things like that. This dirty moves, kneeing people in the gut, and things of that nature. So it seems like it's going to be a more brawler style to fit the setting and the background of the character, which pretty cool. And then they gave a reveal date, which is October 23rd. So as usual, Assassin's Creed will be out in that gray area of before Call of Duty. It's always worked well for them. The Assassin's Creed series has sold well, so I'm sure they're very comfortable in that slot. Now, questions that come up in that. Oh, did I mention you have a revolver as well? You have a 6-shooter, so I thought that was pretty cool too. But anyway, questions that come up, of course, is how stable is it going to be? I think that's probably the number one question for most people coming off of Unity with all its crazy bugs. Second would be gameplay. Is this going to be a satisfying gameplay experience? A lot of people didn't feel that way with Unity. Unity was cool, but like I said, for me, the problems kind of took me away from it, even though I thought it was a solid game. They need to get the problems fixed first. Then we can address the gameplay stuff at better mechanics. I hope they don't have the parkour up, parkour down thing, because that annoyed the fuck out of me. I thought that was just kind of a weird choice to do, to break up your parkour and into separate buttons. And story. Let's see what the story is. How are they going to convey the story How is it going to fit, and is it going to be enjoyable? One of the things that Assassin's Creed has been having problem with is their story continuity. Let's see how this is going to flow. If this is going to be a really solid story. Black Flag I thought was cool. Black Flag, I would say Black Flag, Brotherhood, Assassin's Creed 2 had the best story. Of course, the backdrop stuff, who the fuck knows where they're going to go with this now. With Desmond being gone now for how many games? This will be the third game that you will be without Desmond. So let's see how well they do that background stuff for this game. But we'll see. Game looks good, but time will tell. We still got a lot of information to come. Don't necessarily know if there's going to be a multiplayer or not. They haven't said anything to that nature. E3's coming up, so we'll get a lot more information as time goes on. But anyway, that's it. That's pretty much the overview, all that I could think of that I saw. So with that, as always, you guys hit me up. Let me know what you think, and I'll holler at you later. This your boy Black Makers, and I'm out. Deuces.